We'll call this council meeting of November 13th to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers, yes. Nichols,
Yes.
Lush,
Yes. First item be the approval of minutes of October 23rd regular session.
I move that we approve the minutes from October 23rd regular session.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Abstain.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Lush,
Yes. Next item, need a motion to open a public hearing for the proposed recodification of the Code of the City of Mexico, Missouri.
Make a motion.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Lush,
Yes. Mr. Schlegel?
Okay, thank you. This public hearing this evening is to gather input from the citizens in regards to the proposed recodification of the Mexico City Code. In November of 2015, Council engaged Municipal Code Corporation from Tallahassee, Florida, to help us conduct a major update and reorganization of the Mexico City Code. The first draft was presented from Municipal Code to the city staff in April of 2016. And of course, since there was a lot of changes and updates since the last update, which was done in 1988, there was a lot of amendments and new ordinances and many state law changes that made parts of our code obsolete. And so it took quite a while and time to review everything. And so we spent from basically April through November of 2016 reviewing and updating the code. The second draft then we did receive in January of 17, and then the staff and the city attorney reviewed and edited the second draft, and then the third draft we received in April of 17, and again upon some more revisions we finally gave approval to print the final draft, which was then received in July of 17. The final draft of the proposed code is a public document, and it is accessible by viewing it at City Hall, or you can also go to the city's website and find it. City Council did hold a work session in September to review and familiarize themselves with the updates part of the code. And of course, then tonight we're here to take public comment on the final draft. And then upon direction from council, staff will then proceed with presenting any changes that has been directed by the council, and then we hope to begin the approval process in December. So having that said, we will try to go through some of the changes and what does some of all this mean. So, what is a city code? In general terms, it is the adopted and approved laws of the city, rules and regulations that have been collected and written down for the purposes of providing civil order to our society. It's also been referred to as the city statute or city laws. Therefore, then, what is recodification? Recodification is the careful editing of the city code to bring it into line with state statute, state law. We try to make sure we remove inconsistencies and obsolete provisions. We also try to make sure we incorporate all of the new ordinances and amendments that's been passed since the last update. And then as a part of this, we did reorganize the chapters to make the provisions easier to find as you read the new code. Why recodification? Again, as we said, to recodify, to bring our city laws into line with state statute. There's been a number of state laws that have changed, making parts of our code obsolete. And again, this is our first major update since 1988. Prior to the 1988, the last time it was done was 1969. So we updated the code's general language. We included dozens of new adopted amendments. And then we also like to think it provides a clear understanding and enforcement of the laws as we move forward. As we look at updated codes, why is it important to have an updated code? We look at efficient government. It functions more efficiently with current laws that are organized and indexed. public access to current law. The public now will have access to the laws in order to determine the standard and conduct that's required of them. Ease of enforcement. All the current ordinances on a given subject are contained in one portion of the code instead of trying to jump all over and look for them. Good government, in that it's important that a municipality has up-to-date, clearly written and accessible laws. It acts as a roadmap for the legislative body in that it can deter the legislative body from enacting redundant or inconsistent laws and ordinances by knowing what is in there and making sure they're organized well. The city code is a living document in that removing laws on the books that are obsolete, as well as up to date with current laws and amendments to make sure that they're in place and amended or repealed as necessary. And certainly the recodification just allows people to count on the code and make sure it's reliable and enforceable. Some base code information that we dealt with as we started this was that the city code, as we said, we did engage Municipal Code Corporation to conduct the update. Municipal Code Corporation is one of the top recodification firms in the nation. As we also said, the city's code was last recodified in '98, and that was from materials from the '69 code. So in most cases, you try to do this every 20 years, so you can see we're a little past the 20-year mark as well when we should have looked at it. Materials used in the preparation certainly was the 1998 code, all the supplements, new laws, ordinances, everything we've done since then. The code is now consistent with Missouri state statutes. As I said, it can be found on the website. And some other things about it is new technology makes it possible to keep up-to-date searchable version of our code also available on the internet. So it makes it much easier when it gets adopted. You'll be able to find it and search it and find what you're looking for. And then the supplements as we move forward, which once will be made at least once a year and can be added as part of the code, and that's all part of the service that we receive from Municipal Code, so we can keep it updated as we move forward as well. The new chapters of the code, general provisions, administration, animals, building and construction codes, businesses, cemeteries, courts and jails, emergency management and services, environment, fire protection and prevention, health and public welfare, human relations and social services, offenses and nuisances, parks, recreation and other public facilities, planning and development, solid waste, streets, sidewalks, and other public places, subdivision, traffic and vehicles, utilities, and zoning are the codes, the chapters within the code. Now we'll talk about some of the major changes that went on in the code as we updated it. The first one we'll look at is Administration, Chapter 2. Updated all the voting precincts. There was 10 at one point in time in the community. We are down to 6. That was updated with the county clerk of court on that, or county clerk, I should say. She's also the elections administrator. Updated the administrative departments and offices, removed the health department from the city departments because we now have the Audrain County Public Health Department instead. We updated departments and removed divisions. Updated the department director duties to include reassignment of divisions, public works, economic development, community development. Updated to the references and agreement with the Audrain County Collector and Audrain County to collect our city property taxes. Remove the fund balance policy from the code. This is a council policy and not a code item. Updated to current open meetings and record laws of the state. Implemented a fee schedule which includes all fees referenced in the code into one central location. So you're not jumping all over to find them in the future. Under Chapter 4, which is animals, in general, we updated the language to coincide with current operations. Administration and enforcement updated the rabies vaccination and registration policies to reflect state mandates. Impoundment and addressed animals left unattended in parked vehicles. Care and control. One of the sections that council did pass at one point was the implementation of the restraint and tethering laws, and it said that it would be implemented within 1 year of time. Well, that 1 year is long past, So that's no longer necessary to be part of the code, so you remove the one-year implementation period because it is in effect since it's been passed. And then we corrected the livestock definitions for the enforcement of the code. In Chapter 8, under businesses, the electric, gas, water, telephone companies removed all excessive descriptions of gross receipts for electrical, gas, and water telephone companies under different sections running from Section 8261 to from 8 to 86. Under the alcoholic beverages section, updated the language to meet state requirements, removed the non-intoxicating beer license, no longer enforced by the state, updated suspension and revocation of licenses, is now completed by the city clerk under the supervision of the city manager. Pawnbrokers, updated to enforce all the new state laws locally. Canvassers, peddlers, solicitors, updated to include the requirement to carry license on a person at all times when they're out. Removed all the outdated language. Taxi cabs and buses, removed the congested and non-congested district restrictions for business operations. Updated vehicle substitution requirements, as well as the enforcement of state laws locally. Under Chapter 10, in general, removed the cemetery street names. Under burial spaces, removed the contributions for endowment of individual spaces for perpetual care. That wasn't being done anyway, but once it became part of the city. Removed the placement of family designation for corners on lots. Updated the excavation requirements for placement of monuments. Updated the language when it referred to internments and disinterments to update permit procedures. Under Chapter 14, Emergency Management and Services, Chapter 14, we updated the language from the Civil Defense to Emergency Management. We did adopt the 2009 Emergency Operations Plan, which is the most current plan that Audrain County has in place. They are working on an update right now, but that is the updated plan that they have in place currently. Chapter 16, the stormwater and flood ordinances are now combined into this chapter and is categorized as environment. There were no significant changes made in the language of the ordinances, just put together and categorized under environment. Under Chapter 20, Health and Public Welfare. Chapter 20, the Audrain County Health Department was established as the City County Health Unit of Audrain County, doing business as the Audrain County Health Unit. So they are under the new public health now, not as the City County Health Unit anymore. They now enforce all the food codes and public welfare countywide. It allows the city to adopt the food code for enforcement and works with the city through agreements for other various services as well with the Department of Public Health. Chapter 22, updated and removed the home program, which is no longer supported through city funding or the program is no longer in place, and updated the language. Under Chapter 26, offenses and nuisances, adopted the unlawful use of weapons, added it to include current state statute language, added specific definitions of junk for interior furniture, inoperable lawn and garden equipment, removed the word discarded from the definitions of appliances and furniture. Under consolidated the codes relating to weeds and grass, and added exceptions for lots of over 65,000 square foot. Added unlicensed inoperable vehicles into the nuisance code, current use of the International Property Maintenance Code. Inoperable wrecked vehicles were mentioned in multiple places and is now consolidated. Consolidated the procedure for the abatement of nuisances in one section, including vehicles, weeds, and junks, and penalty language was changed so that it's in accordance with the state statutes. Under Chapter 28, Parks and Recreation, Parks and Other Facilities, we consolidated all the regulations into one article for the park systems, identified Lakeview Park as a recreation use to prevent the overuse of camping facilities at that particular area. Under Chapter 34, Streets, Sidewalks, and Other Public Places, removed outdated paragraph noting that improvements that exceeded $100 would be contracted and that a performance bond for the contract would be required was all deleted. Similarly, a paragraph noting that the cost did not exceed it, that the city could do the work or contract it. Basically, we've changed that you can do your own work type of thing. We don't need to have part of that permitting and so on. Permit fees were updated to be consistent with other fees and will be referenced in the fee schedule. New or reconstructed sidewalks, of course, will now have to be required to meet all ADA requirements and standards. Under Chapter 36, subdivisions, it was reorganized to separate the land related to boundary platting from the improvements related to infrastructure plans. It clarifies that improvement plans requirements for commercial and industrial sites and brings the platting requirements into conformance with the Code of State Regulations on Planning. Under Chapter 42, zoning, in general, additions and amendments for deletions and definitions were for clarifications, such as we added the definition for group home and manufactured home, amended the term home occupation. Permits and certifications, amendments to have all the permits issued will expire in 1 year from issuance. Dwelling districts updated to clarify that no mobile home shall be permitted except as provided as an additional use regulation of the codes. Signs, definitions were amended due to sign industry advancements and changes in electronic and animated signs that you see now. And temporary signs definitions was amended to address the chronic sign issues that you see around as far as the garage sales that you see posted everywhere and boxes and the medians and all those things. So now, under the adoption of the new code, again, we're here for the public hearing this evening to hear comment, and then council will do consideration of the changes and amendments to this draft, and then we hope to have the first reading by title only of the new code in December with all the changes involved. And the second reading hopefully right after the first of the year. As a whole, we want to certainly acknowledge all the department directors and staff and city attorney and council for taking their time to go through this. This is the new code, so that was not light reading for anyone to go through and pick out things. So we know there are some other things that we've kind of caught off and on, but we also want to hear from the public as well. So, Your Honor, at this point, I'll just relinquish to how you wish to handle the public hearing.
All right, we'll open the public hearing at this time. If you'd like to make a comment, we ask that you come to the podium, state your name and address. Try to hold your comments to 3 minutes. The floor is open. If there's no public comments, council have comments at this time?
I do. I have a few, so you want to go first?
I have a few too, so.
Okay, well then. One of the first things that I have is in section 26:8, and when it's referring to the peace disturbance codes and the definitions. 26:8 occurs after 26:6, which actually talks about peace disturbances, and it would seem to me that we want the definitions of the peace disturbances prior to actually giving the codes in regards to it. Also in section 26:13, I felt that one is probably one that we could delete from the books in regards to expectoration in public places. And it states, no person in the city shall expectorate upon any sidewalk or street, nor upon the floor in a public building, nor upon any other public place. I think that is something that I'm sure our police people and the chief won't want to have to enforce. And it's, one of those things, I think, it's just one of those things that we've kept on the books for a while that needs to be removed. When you look at 26-72, unlawful use of weapons, exceptions, and penalties, if you look at number 4, it reads, openly carries a firearm readily capable of lethal. And it looks like I think Bruce was saying it was part of a state code. So he was trying to look and see if there was a word missing or something.
I think it says lethal use, I believe, is what I think there's a word dropped off there.
And so we definitely wanted to correct that. I'm almost done. It's lucky for us. Bruce was able to give me some answers on a couple other ones. Obviously, I have nothing to do in my spare time but read codes.
It's light reading.
It was fun and entertaining. And then in chapter 20, section 28-27, section B, when it's talking about fishing is only allowed on the west side of the lake area, no fishing from shores or banks on the south, east, and north sides of Till, thought it might be appropriate to add lake to Till. And those were the major ones that I had, or the minor ones, however you want to see it.
Okay. Mr. Williams?
So I'm going to start with just a broad question. I mean, I was kind of pushing to get the codes rewritten because, we've had a lot of issues in the community of enforcement and such. And so can y'all just touch on how this code, because the answer I got a lot of times in the past is, well, the code is the problem. The code is the problem. So can you touch on why this code, how this code is going to help you enforce nuisances and such in the community now that you said you couldn't enforce in the past?
I would say the biggest difference is from this is that most of it now is combined into one sections, and so that it's easier to read, easier to look at, and it now is all in conjunction with state statute. So that it follows the same as the state laws now, so that it isn't inconsistencies between the two reference, well, this is the way we handle, but it isn't state, so you can't enforce that section. So it's now, I would say the biggest thing, it's consistent with state law.
So, just one example. So the house at the top of my street on East Jackson, still under construction, probably 3 years later. I've been told that the code and we had to do this and we had to do that. So how is that going to change with this code?
The other thing in here is that the permits are only good for 1 year. So whereas before permits were open-ended, Rita, how long did they run?
Usually as an individual guy.
Yeah, so they'll expire within 1 year now, and so that they have to have the work done within that period, or it could be a code violation.
Okay. Well, I will have some. In the park section, it references you aren't allowed to fish from culverts, bridges, and what have you. I know a lot of people fish from Lakeview right there on the road. Isn't that a bridge? Technically a culvert. Definitely. So how do you plan?
That language would usually be enforced by the conservation agent, and that's consistent with their language in their code.
So do we even, if we're not going to enforce it, do we need it in the code?
Yeah, for them to be able to enforce their code within the city. That's what the fishing, like the creel limits, you notice they will say they're consistent with our cap agreements and whatnot, and that's why I said we're consistent with them. Otherwise, when he writes a ticket in town, it has to go to city court instead of county court. It will get thrown out because it's not in our code. Does that make sense?
We have a code, but we're not going to enforce the code. We're going to wait. If they enforce it, that's fine, but we're not going to enforce it.
Yes, long or short. We could if we had. Right. So if we had somebody that we had a particular problem with, if they were doing something that was unsafe, and I called up Susan, Chief Rocket, and said, "Hey, Chief, I got a problem with this person. Could you write a ticket on this piece of code?" I'm sure they could write a ticket on a piece of code, but generally, Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, generally we would call up dispatch and get a hold of Norman, and he would come out and take that action, correct? Probably. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, we just work with them.
Okay. In the pet part, one thing I didn't see was, we've had people up here talking about chickens and such, and when I read this code now, it says within 200 feet of a dwelling. Well, I could build them in back of Chris's house here. He's not within 200 feet of anybody. So
chickens and fowl will be considered the livestock portion.
But in your definitions, livestock and chicken are two different. I'm pretty sure chicken is fowl.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, thinking about it.
But even if you were to say that, it doesn't prohibit it except within 200 feet. So it used to be a lot bigger, did it not? 'Cause I remember
No, it's the same.
No, it's always been within 200 feet. And most of your lots really don't allow, because you don't have you can't get your 200 feet off of most lots. So most people can't really have them in the city limits. Because the fence has to be 200 feet off the property line, and you don't have that fence.
So it has to be, so am I misreading what I'm reading? I don't see anything about a fence in section 4119. It just says no pen, stable, shed, or other structure, nor any lot or other premises whatsoever situated within 200 feet of any dwelling house in this city. So if they could build it in the back of my house as long as it's not within 200 feet of somebody else's house. Because there's nothing in here that says fence. It has to be off any fence.
I think they're talking about the fence, the pin for the bird has to be 200 feet. That's what I got out of that.
Yeah, but it's not. If I was doing one, I could say, where's that? Right? And you could say, it's implied.
I assumed the fence meant the pen that the animal was in has to be 200 feet from the dwelling.
And fowl is chickens, turkeys, pheasants, quail, geese, and livestock is horses, ponies, mules, donkeys, cattle, sheep, goats, and swine. So they are two different definitions. So that's on 4.1.
Do we have very many chicken farms in town? I mean, I know of some.
No, we had people come here asking to do it. And we basically told them they couldn't do it. But then when I saw this, I was like, well, really, you could. If you're in some lots in town, not a lot, but there are places in town that would allow that.
I think that would be yes or no. That would be yes or no. No chickens or yes chickens.
Right, that's what I mean. I think you gotta, if you're gonna allow it. If you're not, not.
Why don't we just simplify this rules and just say no chickens, period. That way you're not discriminating against if somebody's got a small yard and cater to the big yard people.
Yeah, and we can change it. When the Planning and Zoning Commission looked at it, they just recommended no change after reviewing the language on that, so. But we can put in whatever you.
So if you disallow chickens, are the chicken pens that are existing grandfathered in? Or they have to go shoot their chickens?
There shouldn't be any in town
So
because
it's really not, it's not any out there. If it is, it's hidden. It shouldn't be any out there unless they are off of the 200.
They are.
They are.
Well, Teal Lake houses, what's it called? Mud Dauber Lane? He has chickens. And they're way back in there. He's got a barn, and behind the barn is a little chicken thing that's probably no bigger than this countertop here. He's got 6 or 8 chickens in there. Yeah. Dr. Weaver has 6 or 8 chickens. She's got plenty of ground, 200 feet from everywhere, so I'm just concerned that are you going to just tell them they have to shoot your chickens?
well, I guess part of that problem would be when we had the chicken people here.
I understand.
They said, we basically told them they can't have chickens. And now I'm hearing we have chickens in town, which we were told we didn't really have chickens in town. So,
And it was because of a distance issue that the zoning did not want to change.
Get spitting on this now.
So is there a different definition or different way you want us to deal with it over the way we have, or what's your thoughts? Because we've taken the position that they are allowable, but they have to be that, you have to have the land and the distance separation. And that was the same position the Planning and Zoning Commission left in place, which basically left you really couldn't have it on any typical residential lot. You had to have like the Dr. Weaver size type of thing and so on. Yeah.
Mr. Hylas. It seemed to me that if that the space, as long as you have the space, it shouldn't be denied, but I understand. You know, if it's close at hand and you got roosters, that makes a difference.
Right, chickens without roosters.
No,
I mean, I don't.
roosters in your yard,
I'm saying
in your neighborhood.
Would chickens without roosters be a compromise to allow people to do it?
Most people that have chickens are afraid.
I want chickens.
But
What are we
So
deciding?
are you recommending any changes? You want us to look at any changes on that?
My recommendation would be no changes. We've gone through this before, and things are kind of settled down right now, and I would suggest we make no changes at this point.
I'm just bringing it up because the chicken people have been on me
Yep.
about this code. So if we
Wanting chickens.
now, if they find out, I mean, when they were here, they were basically told they couldn't do it. Period.
No, we told them that if you had the right size lot, you could have them, but you got to have the right size lot. And
Right.
It's been that way eons in this town, and I think we ought to just leave it alone. That's my opinion, though. You know, other council members can speak their piece.
And I hear that, but just like Rita said a minute ago, there's basically no lots in town. But now I hear there's this lot and that lot and this lot and that
oh,
lot.
there'd be several lots in town
Yeah.
to be.
Right. But they were pretty much told that there wasn't really anywhere in town they could do it. But that turns out that they can do it and other people are doing it.
We actually, it was, people come in on an individual basis, and if they would give us an address and we would look at the lot, and if they did not have the clearance, anybody that comes in, you can, because the code says that you can have chickens, but you have to have the 200 feet off the property line. And if they were told no, it's just because the lot that they actually lived on did not meet the requirements. But to my knowledge, I have not ever told anyone, no, you can't have chickens. They have to come in and answer the questions first to see if they are on a lot where it would allow it. But like you say, most of them do not have the space. But there are some lots that would allow you to have the chickens.
I don't really care either way. I'm just asking for them, and they're going to be asking me. So one of the biggest ones is the doctor at the hospital. I can't remember his name though. Yeah. He's been on me a couple times since we redid the code. You got to change that chicken thing. That's why I read it, because I was like,
He lives on Woodlawn.
yep.
And that's what we know.
Yeah, next house would probably be 20 feet from you.
To purchase another house.
Any other things, Chris?
And then on the sound thing, so 150 feet is the max that you can go with noise. Is that correct? I mean, is that what I'm reading here?
What section are you in? Can you tell
I'm
me?
in 26.
26.
130.
30?
130, 131, 132. The reason I'm asking that question is we all know during the summer that down there at Garfield Park they have some good times down there, and they would be out of compliance pretty much constantly at 150 feet. So do we need to change that to make that what can we do to fix that problem? Because they're definitely more than 150 feet out there.
Yes and no. If they have a permit to do a public event down there, then they're permitted. It's when they do not have that public permit, such as a public event. So it would be no different than like downtown, even like during a soybean festival or whatever else. When they're given a permit, then there are exceptions under the use permit then that they can do it. Otherwise, it's the 250 feet for just general use. Yeah.
So unless they get a citywide special event permit.
Right.
And I don't recall that we generally
Would do
call
it
that
for
out.
within the park, yeah.
We don't permit any, within the parks ourselves, we do not permit any violation of the noise ordinance ever.
So-
We tell people specifically, every time we send out special permission for anything, that they're specifically not allowed to violate the noise ordinances. And Susan gets a CC of that.
Yeah. And so then you basically make them turn it down at that time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, she may be back several times. You know,
Beyond the Unity Choir yesterday may have been out of the 150 feet, huh?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Is the school system exempt from our codes?
No.
They're not? The changing class every half hour, every hour. You hear that thing?
Hear the bells.
8, 10 blocks away, yeah.
The basic thing is, I just don't want people to get tickets for something that's not really ticketable. If we're going to have language, then we need to make sure that we have the proper language.
Index for playing the drums.
So what about the football? Is that exempt?
That would, yeah, that'd be an organized sport event.
Okay.
Well,
I guess schools are organizing that too.
yeah, because you can go to 26133 at permissible acts for public rallies, athletic events, parades.
Okay. Well, then I guess I'll ask if somebody was making too much noise in the park, would you give them a ticket or would you ask them to turn it down first?
You'd ask them to turn it down first.
Okay.
And I'm sure you've probably done, I don't know that you've given any tickets, but you've been back 3 and 4 times.
We always prefer compliance.
That's what I figured.
Generally, the language they get when they're permitted to do something special within the park system is that they have to follow all the noise ordinances, and that if they do not, that public safety may tell them that they have to cancel their event.
And last but not least is, I didn't see any language in here on, maybe somewhere else, but I didn't see it in the sidewalk part on who's responsible to take care of the sidewalks and how that comes about. It doesn't specify who, what, where.
I think it would be under 34, I think, Chris, chapter 34, but sidewalks, we didn't make any changes, so the adjoining property owner is responsible for the sidewalk.
That's the understanding, but I just didn't see it actually in words here, and I didn't see what the fine or anything would be if they were not. Because that's another issue that we've had problems with in the past that I've heard the code is a little vague on whether we enforce it or not enforce it, so. Again, I can go right up Jackson Street on the left side, the side across from the hospital. There's a big hole in the sidewalk. It's been there for over a year. They got a cone to mark it's there, but
Kenzie, do you have that one?
34-7 declares them to be a public nuisance. And then,
Has anybody turned down the hole in the sidewalk, Chris? Has anybody turned in the hole in the sidewalk?
I mentioned it here before, like over a year ago, and that's why I said we had the code issue. Oh, yeah, the
13.
code.
34-13.
Chris, look at 3413.
It's the parkway? To bring into the grade of the sidewalk? I don't know how that really tells you have to fix the sidewalk.
Land in suitable conditions, repair and bring into grade of the sidewalk along the property, so that also would include the sidewalk.
I think that could be a little clearer, because to me that doesn't really say the sidewalk, it's the grade of the sidewalk.
34-101 also listed.
There you go.
You can read this to your house across.
I know. That's good then. As you can tell, mine is just basically... Yeah. 34-101.
Yeah, 30, that one does a much better job describing it, yeah.
As you can tell, I mean, my basic theory is I just want to be able to fix problems because I've been here several years, and a lot of the time I hear, well, the code, we can't do it because the code's not clear.
Let's fix it now.
Right. That's why I'm like, we've got problems, we want to get them fixed. So.
Any other board members, council members have questions or concerns at this time? Not, I'd hear a motion to adjourn out of the public hearing.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flesh,
Next item under old business is an ordinance, bill number 2017-64, an ordinance amending Chapter 7, Article 10, Schedule 4, one-way streets and alleys of motor vehicles and traffic schedules of the Mexico City Code. Second reading by title only and passage. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor, you did have the first reading of the ordinance on October 23rd. We can certainly go over any parts of it again, but we've not heard any additional comments since then. And of course, at the time, you did receive 2 responses, which was in support of making Cawthorn Street the one-way street. So unless you have any additional questions or would like us to cover something more, we would just recommend council proceed with the second reading by title only and passage of the ordinance.
It's going south or north?
The one-way would be going north.
Right. Okay.
I move for second reading of bill number 2017-64.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flesh,
Yes. Bill number 2017-64, an ordinance amending Chapter 7, Article 10, Schedule 4, one-way streets and alleys and the motor vehicles and traffic schedules of the Mexico City Code. Move for passage of bill number 2017-64.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols, Flesh,
Yes.
Next item under new business, resolutions, bill number 2017-65, a resolution authorizing the city manager into an agreement with the Mexico Area Chamber of Commerce, the County of Audrain, the Audrain Development Incorporated, to assist in economic development activities for the City of Mexico. Reading and passage. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor. The attached resolution authorizes the city to enter into agreement with the Mexico Area Chamber of Commerce, the County of Audrain, and Audrain Development, Inc., doing business as Progress Mexico, to assist in economic development activities. And this is for the budget year, actually I think it's really calendar year, of 17-18, for the year of 18. Each entity is to contribute $5,000 to support the cost of the economic development activities listed in the agreement. This is a renewal agreement. The existing agreement, the cost, the activities, everything remains the same. All parties that I've talked to them are all in support and agreement that it's been good and we need to continue with it. Staff recommends that the City of Mexico enter into the agreement to promote economic development activities, and the council proceed with reading and passage of the attached resolution.
Pleasure of the council.
I I just say that I think the chamber, I think you guys do a great job of opening up the chamber to hold events and whatever needs to happen, so I appreciate that. So I think anytime we can all come together for economic development in the city is a great thing, so. I make a motion to read bill number 2017-65.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers, Nichols,
Yes.
Flash,
Yes.
Bill number 2017-65, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with the Mexico Area Chamber of Commerce, the County of Audrain, and Audrain Development Incorporated to assist in economic development activities for the City of Mexico. Whereas the City of Mexico recognizes the many benefits derived by the city, its businesses, and citizens resulting from economic development activities in Mexico, Missouri. And whereas the City of Mexico acknowledges the need for economic development activities and also recognizes the benefits associated with partnering with the Mexico Area Chamber of Commerce, the County of Audrain, and the Audrain Development Incorporated, DBA Progress Mexico. And whereas the City of Mexico Area Chamber of Commerce, Audrain County, Missouri, and Audrain Development Incorporated desire to enter into an agreement to promote economic development activities within the City of Mexico and County of Audrain. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Mexico, Missouri as follows. Section 1, the city manager is hereby authorized to execute an agreement with the Mexico Area Chamber of Commerce, Audrain County, Missouri, and Audrain Development Incorporated to assist in promoting economic development activities in the City of Mexico and County of Audrain. Section 2, this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after the time of its passage. I move for passage of bill number 2017-65.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flash,
Yes.
Next item is Bill number 2017-66, a resolution authorizing city manager to enter into agreement with the Mexico Senior Nutrition Center to assist in providing services for senior citizens. Reading and passage, Mr. Schlegel.
Yes, Your Honor, for this item, we'll turn to Roger Haynes to cover.
Good evening, Council. The 2017-2018 budget allows for the City of Mexico to contribute to the Mexico Senior Nutrition Center the sum of $14,000 to assist in the offset of operational costs related to providing programs, activities, and nutritional luncheon services. The city increased assistance to the Mexico Nutrition Center to $14,000 last fiscal year and provided prior assistance in the amount of $10,000 annually dating back to 2000. A narrative of the past year's progress and programs of the center has been provided for Council's review. Ione Bickel, the administrator for the center, is here with us this evening should Council have any questions of her. Staff recommends that the City of Mexico and Mexico Senior Nutrition Center enter into an agreement and that Council proceed with reading and passage of the attached resolution.
Questions from the council? Mrs. Beckle, do you have anything you want to tell us that we need to know?
Yes. In our last fiscal year, we served over 58,000 meals to seniors in Audrain County. Every day I see a growing need for our home delivered meals and our congregate program. Here recently, it averages about one a day I have to go and see and put them on the home delivered meals. So I think we offer valuable service to the City of Mexico and all of Audrain County.
You left one word out of that.
Do what?
I said you left one word out of that. You served that many good meals.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We do appreciate that. Thank you a lot. Speaking of which, we're having a turkey dinner tomorrow, and you're all invited. So.
I will say also that you really haven't energized the senior population. They talk about you a lot now and about the
Oh, really?
center. Yeah.
I get that a lot of places I go. I'm being talked about, which is kind of scary sometimes, but I'm really enjoying my job. I enjoy it a lot of fun.
What is the age on eating there? Have to be 70 or 80?
No, 60. 60 is a senior
You can
center.
go.
Yeah.
You can go, yeah.
Now, if you're younger, you can come as a guest with your grandmother or another relative. You're welcome to come. But that's just every so often. We cater to the senior citizens of Audrain County.
I missed out a lot of years so far.
I said 3 out of 5 can go.
Is she saying 3 of us are old? Is that what she said?
You're going to go and pick up the tab.
I go. Look, she'll tell you. I'll come by every once in a while just to say hi. I'll pay $6 and eat a meal.
Acting like an old person. Yeah, there you go.
And we want the council members to come. We want you to come. We want you to see what we're doing and what we have to offer. And I do appreciate Council Lady Shivers to come into our center. It means a lot to us. And she's always willing to help me do different programs, so I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Pleasure of the board.
I make a motion, I read bill number 2017-66.
Second.
By title only.
No.
Good try.
You get out of that.
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flash.
Yes.
Bill number 2017-66, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with the Mexico Nutrition Center to assist in providing services for senior citizens. Whereas the city of Mexico recognizes the many benefits provided by the Mexico Senior Nutrition Center to our seniors, and whereas the city of Mexico acknowledges the need for programs, activities, and nutritional luncheon services provided to the senior citizens. Therefore, the City of Mexico and the Mexico Senior Nutrition Center desire to enter into an agreement to continue to provide these services. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Mexico, Missouri as follows. Section 1. The City Manager hereby authorized to execute an agreement with the Mexico Senior Nutrition Center to assist in providing services to senior citizens. Section 2. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after the final passage. Got it. I move for passage of bill number 2017-66.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flash.
Yes.
Our next item is Bill 2017-67, a resolution authorizing city manager to enter into an agreement with the Help Center to offset operational costs related to providing services to citizens. Reading and passage. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor. Again, we'll have Roger Haynes cover this one.
This year's budget allows for the City of Mexico to contribute to the Health Center the sum of $5,000 for the use in the offset of operational costs related to providing programs, activities, and services to citizens. The city provided assistance to the Help Center in 2004, 2009, 2010, and 2011 in the amount of $5,000. In 2012, Council approved the increase to level of support to the Help Center to $10,000 based on a need for additional assistance. Staff recommends that the City of Mexico and the Help Center enter into an agreement and that the Council proceed with reading and passage of the attached resolution.
Questions? Pleasure of the board.
And we do have with us, sorry, Phil.
Yes,
We do have
Phil.
with us tonight Phil Iman, Executive Director of the Help Center.
Mr. Iman, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, first, I'd like to express my sincere appreciation for your past support, ongoing support, and proposed future support. The Help Center really is all of us coming together to make what we do possible. It's not possible with any one entity or with me or volunteers or whatever. It's all of us making it happen. We serve nearly over 700 families each month with supplemental food, and providing emergency assistance to people, and just a wide variety. We're always looking to increase our ability to serve the citizens of Mexico and Adrian County. So I just want to say thank you and offer to answer any questions that you may have.
How does the Help Center work?
How?
Yes.
Well,
that's the first time I've ever been in there. Was other days.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. And so if you're talking about the food part of what we do, and it's really basic. When people come to us and say, I need help, I need food, that's what we're there for, is supplemental food. There is some income requirements based on USDA food that we provide, food that's funded by the federal government. It's 125% of the poverty level. But for the food that's called Feeding America, that comes from the food bank out of Colombia, it's, their requirements are to us. If someone says they need food, that we provide food to them. So, and, we have people, I think a really interesting fact is that less than 10% of the people that we serve, the families that we serve, come every single month. So most people will come just basically whenever they need food. So, and there is people that come as well for emergency food. I don't think we would ever say no to somebody if they came to us and said, I need help. The amount of food that we provide may vary from time to time, depending on the situation. When someone comes to me, other than during the distribution hours, I'll listen to their situation, try to understand what their need is, and then provide accordingly.
I didn't have a chance to look very close, but that one great big cardboard boxes.
Right.
Is that everything, the same thing in that box?
In that particular box, yes, right. And we just switched over to a new method of distribution the 1st of November. Previously, we have loaded carts with food and provided it to the people. We've now switched over to the shopping method where people have the freedom of choice. When they go through, they can pick from that, that each one of those had a similar type of food in them, and they go around and the volunteer would offer that to them. And we have a limit of X amount per family member or per family, whatever the case may be. So I think we're making great strides in not just providing food, but providing food that people want, and perhaps whether it be their wants or their needs or whatever. One of the things that struck me the most was gluten intolerant folks. We would have people come in and say, well, they're sorting through everything that we gave them. I can't have this, I can't have this, I can't have that. So now we're providing them with choice where they can choose that, and I think it's making a big difference. I noticed from my conversation with the people going through, the participants in our program, many of them were very thankful that now they feel like they have a little bit of choice in what we're providing them. And I think something that people that they're put in a situation where they have to ask for help, many times they don't get a choice. They're just saying, here's what you're going to get. So this, I think, is a great step forward.
A lot of smiling faces that come out of your doors.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do good things, and I know we're doing the right thing.
Keep up good work.
Thank you. Any other questions I can answer? Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Pleasure to the board.
I move for reading of Bill number 2017-67.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flash.
Yes.
Bill number 2017-67, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with the Help Center to offset operational costs related to providing services to citizens. Whereas the City of Mexico recognizes the many benefits provided by the Help Center to its citizens, and whereas the City of Mexico acknowledges the need for programs, activities, and services provided to citizens, and whereas the City of Mexico and the Help Center desire to enter into an agreement to continue to provide these services, now therefore it be it resolved by the Council of the City of Mexico, Missouri as follows. Section 1, the city manager is hereby authorized to execute an agreement with the Help Center to assist in the offset of operational costs related to the providing these services. Section 2, this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after the time of its passage. I move for passage of Bill number 2017-67.
Second.
Miller,
Am I reading it wrong? No.
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flash.
Yes.
Council agreed approved to 10,000. Okay, we're giving 5,000.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I just was reading two things here. Under new business, two readings by title only and passage, Bill number 2017-68, an ordinance calling for the establishing the filing dates for the municipal general election to be held in 2018 to fill 2 3-year terms on the Mexico, Missouri City Council. Two readings by title only and passage. Mr. Slade.
Yes, Your Honor. This ordinance sets forth the dates for the 2018 municipal general election. It establishes the time period for candidate filing as well. Statements of candidacy will be received by the city clerk starting on Tuesday, December 12th, 2017, and through Tuesday, January 16th, 2018. The municipal general election will then be held on Tuesday, April 3rd, 2018. In order to proceed with the mechanics of accepting the statements of candidacy and establishing the election dates, staff recommends council proceed with 2 readings by title and passage of the attached ordinance, and the ordinance has been posted as required length of time.
Questions, anyone? Pleasure of the board.
I move for first reading of bill number 2017-68 by title only.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flash.
Yes. Bill number 2017-68, an ordinance calling for the establishing the filing dates for the municipal general election to be held in 2018 to fill 2 3-year terms on the Mexico, Missouri City Council. Move for second reading by title only of bill number 2017-68.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flash.
Yes. Bill number 2017-68, an ordinance calling for and establishing filing dates for the municipal general election to be held in 2018 to fill 2 3-year terms on the Mexico, Missouri City Council. Move for passage of bill number 2017-68.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flash.
Yes.
Next is other business. Staff reports 2018 dental insurance coverage. Mr. Slater.
Yes, Your Honor. As part of our annual process of reviewing insurances, one of the things that we did was through the dental insurance that we felt we needed to make a change to a different company based on pricing and what we received, and therefore to cover the details, we'll turn to Roger Hayes.
As Bruce mentioned, the renewal pricing from our current provider Standard did not come in as well as we had hoped, so therefore we did go out to the market to see what we could obtain. Staff has reviewed the group dental insurance bids for the upcoming benefit year, which would run from January 1, 2018 through December 31st, 2018. The city received 4 dental insurance quotes. Qualified proposals were received from Guardian, MetLife, Principal, and our current provider, Standard Insurance. Giving full consideration to pricing submitted from providers, past service experience, benefit coverage, area network, percentage of UCR, which is usual, customary, and reasonable pricing, MetLife provides the best overall dental plan for the upcoming plan year. Staff recommends MetLife as the dental benefit provider for the calendar year 2018 with the option to renew for 2 additional 1-year terms based on quality of service and acceptable renewal pricing. It is also recommended that by staff that Gallagher Insurance Group be the agency of record based on the quality of service to the City of Mexico. A couple additional items just for council's information. We have been with MetLife in the past. We were with them in 2013, 14, and 15 for a 3-year stint, and over that 3-year period, our rate adjustment was 4.60%. MetLife also, in their proposal, did something that the other proposers did not do. They offered a rate cap for the second year of 6%. This, of course, bodes well for budget in 2019 and an ability to stay with the same provider for at least a 2-year stint. Also is good for us as far as going out and get competitive bids in the future. To our employees with dependent coverage, their contributions under the MetLife plan will be reduced in year 1 and in year 2 compared to the contributions they currently make through Standard Insurance. The proposal by MetLife is a 3.7% reduction over what we currently have through Standard. And of course, the city pays 100% of the employees' coverage and 50% of the dependent coverage. And I'd be glad to answer any questions.
So we left MetLife for 1 year.
We were with MetLife for a 3-year stint.
Yeah, they left them for 1.
We left them for 1. Standard, we've been with them in 2016 calendar year and 2017 calendar year. If they had come back with a reasonable renewal rate, we would have stayed with them a 3rd year, but they did not, so that triggered us to go out and shop the market.
So as you can see, the MetLife pricing is actually lower than we're paying this year. And with that rate guarantee, we'll actually be able to maintain the 3-year period at basically no cost increase.
Pleasure of the board.
What do we need? A motion to accept?
Yep.
Make a motion to accept MetLife as the dental insurer for the City of Mexico.
Second. In that motion, we also need to accept Gallagher Insurance Group to be the agency of record.
I make that motion.
You agree with that?
Second.
Yeah.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flash.
Yes.
Next item is appointment of various boards and commissions. Mr. Slagle.
Yes, Your Honor, I think the best thing to do is we have a number of them this evening, so we'll just take one board at a time. And so we'll start with the Enhanced Enterprise Zone Board. Michael Myers' term expired in 2017, and he is interested in reappointment. We did not receive any other applications expressing interest in serving on this board. This is a 5-year term, so the new term would expire in August of 2022.
I make a motion to reappoint Michael Myers to the Enhanced Enterprise Zone Board for a 5-year term.
Second.
That is the same Michael Myers that was on council.
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flash.
Yes. Okay, the next is the 21st Century Fund. Tony Robertson, Martin Keller's term expired in August of 2017. Mr. Keller is interested in reappointment. There are currently 2 openings, and we did not receive any other applications expressing interest at this time in serving on the board. This is a 3-year term, then, that would expire in August of 2020 to reappoint Mr. Keller.
Make a motion to reappoint Martin Keller to the 21st Century Fund Board for a term of 3 years.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flash.
Yes. Okay, next is the Mexico Airport Advisory Board. David Taylor and Steve Hagan's terms expired in October of 2017. Mr. Taylor is interested in reappointment. Mr. Hagan is not eligible for reappointment. He has termed out. There are currently 3 openings on the board, so we certainly need to find some additional folks and be interested, but we have not received any applications at this time. This is a 3-year term, then, that would expire in October of 2020.
Make a motion to reappoint David Taylor to the Mexico Airport Advisory Board.
Just have a question for you.
Yes.
So we have to have 7.
That is the way it's currently set, at 7 members.
But do we have to have 7?
No.
My own question was, is if you're required to have 7, maybe we can bend the deal on Hagan. Because I don't know.
No, you
You can't?
That's by ordinance.
yeah.
All right, that's,
There's a certain amount that has to be in the city, and there's a certain amount that are coming out of the county, and so we have kind of a disparity.
okay, all right. That clarified that.
Now, if he sits out for a period of time, he can come back.
Okay.
So do you second?
A second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flash.
Yes.
Can I ask a question about the advisory board?
Yes.
How do they feel, I'm not trying to get on it, but notice that it says non-voting, and it was in our codes about the city council members that,
Right.
and both of the, we have one with the tourism, it looks like, and one with the Mexico Airport Advisory Board, that we do not have a city council member appointed to it as it's supposed to be.
With the Tourism Commission, it's with default, it automatically goes to the mayor unless he appoints somebody else, or he or she. With the Airport Advisory Board, previously it was Dan Botts that served under that. So that is open if somebody's interested in serving on that as from the council as far as a non-voting member.
Raise your hand.
And I know you didn't, you said you didn't bring that up with the idea of volunteering.
I help you.
I'm just noticing that, it's also in our codes about it.
Yeah.
And so, just thinking it's probably important that we do have someone on there.
I'd be happy to do the airport thing. I guess I could learn some stuff. I mean,
And Russell, you meet 4 times a year? Quarterly? Yeah. So that one is not as demanding as some of the other ones.
right.
The city furnished a plane.
So we have to make a motion.
Sounds like we have a volunteer.
Do we have to make a motion?
I think if you're,
We're going to appoint you. You're in.
Make it official.
Make a motion, we appoint.
Will you let me know, Russell, when that? Let me know.
Second.
Will you let me know when we have a meeting here?
He's
Let you know.
Okay, Tourism Commission.
all right, Tourism Commission. Richard Gold was serving an unexpired term that expired in September of 17. He is involved in the hotel motel industry, which is important for this position that he serves in, and he is eligible for reappointment, and he is interested in serving another term. We have not received any other interest, and this would be for a 3-year term expiring in September 2020.
Make a motion to reappoint Richard Gold to the Mexico Tourism Commission for a 3-year term.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flash.
Yes.
All right, the Industrial Development Authority Board, Kevin Freeman's term was set to expire in October of 2021, and he has resigned his position on this board. Zach Templeton has expressed interest in serving on the board. There are currently 2 openings on this board. They are 6-year terms. There is a term that would expire in October of 2021, which was the term that Mr. Freeman was filling, and there's also another term of October 2022. So you could appoint him to either one of those terms if you so desired.
Say appoint Zach Templeton to the term of 10/2016 to 10/2022 to the Industrial Development Authority Board.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flash.
Yes.
Okay, next item is to pay the claims.
Make a motion, we pay the bills.
Second.
Miller,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Shivers,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Flash.
Yes.
Okay, the next item is comments, and we'll begin with the council. We'll begin with Mr. Ron.
I know that this hasn't come out yet. We got it in our packet, but I found it to be very informative. So a lot of good information there for the citizens of Mexico, and I do hope they take time to read it. So that's all I have.
That is the November edition of the city's newsletter, the fall edition, and it should be in the mailboxes maybe as early as tomorrow. So it'll be out this week, supposedly.
I saw the new presser building was open, so that was exciting. And we'll have some events there this winter, and there's lots of stuff coming up with the holiday season here in town, so get out and enjoy some of these events, and some of the people who put it on appreciate what they do.
Mr. Nichols.
I have nothing. Hard to believe it.
Dr. Shivers.
Just wanted to say I enjoyed the Unity service on yesterday at First Presbyterian. It was great that it was the second time, and we had a really good turnout for that. Leads me to, stay reminded I'm still working on finding someone to do our diversity training for our council and the various departments in the city.
Well, speaking of diversity training, Slater, I was wondering, I don't know how long that takes, but could there be a work session for us?
Yeah, I'm sure it could be.
That was on my list. Ron hit the newsletter. I got the newsletter in our packet. It's coming out. It's pretty informative. A lot of things in there you need to read and take hold of Presser Arts opening. I was there. It was great. It's a fantastic facility, and it'll bring a lot of things to Mexico and a lot of shows. The Unity service Ayana was talking about, it was great if you were there. It was great to see all the different churches that were in one church having one service, and I was concerned after the 150 feet noise ordinance that when the choir got up that we might have overdone that. So I'm not sure how that works, but and seeing Dana out here, I better plug the Christmas parade is December 2nd. So if you want to put a float together, XEO, Mexico Ledger, any of that. She's looking for more floats, December 2nd.
I'd say city council should put one together.
All right. Hey, I will put you in charge of that.
Yeah, you volunteer for that?
You learned to have short arms up here.
Hey, look,
That's a vacant position.
The question is, do y'all really want me to do it? That just means y'all have to fall in line and do whatever I say. So y'all might want to think about that. I can see reindeer.
All right. Next item will be public comments. If you'd like to make a comment, we ask you to come to the podium, state your name and address, and try to hold your comments to 3 minutes. If there's no public comments, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Miller?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Shivers? Yes. Nichols?
Yes.
Flash?
Yes.